the leaders of the G7.
All right, we are live.
Today, I want to say a word about the progress we're making.
Well, you and I are at
on the
least.
Build Back Better agenda here at home.
We're going to see how this is
telephone with the leaders in the House.
working.
Today,
I'm
the
going to
House
eat a piece of
Representatives
chocolate.
taken a significant step toward making a historic investment that's going to transform America, cut taxes for working families,
I would
and
say everything's
position the
wrong.
American economy for long-term growth. When I became president, it was clear that we had to confront an immediate economic crisis, the most significant recession we've had since the Depression, or at least since Johnson. But that wasn't gonna be enough.
Because of
We also
your
had to make some
Corona.
long-term investments in Americans and America itself.
All right, your headphones
The
on.
first thing we did was to write and pass the American Rescue Plan, and it's working. Our economy has added 4 million jobs in my first 6 months in office. Economic growth is up to the fastest it's been, the fastest rate in 40 years, and unemployment is coming down. Right now, our economic growth is leading the world's advanced economies. But to win the future, we need to take the next step. Today, the House of Representatives did just that. Today's vote in the House allowed them to consider my Build Back Better agenda, a broad framework to make housing more affordable, bring down the cost of prescription drugs by giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for drugs, make elder care more affordable, provide 2 years of free universal high-quality pre-K and 2 years of free community college, provide clean energy tax credits, continue to give the middle-class families the well-deserved tax cut for daycare and health care that they deserve, allowing a lot of women to get back to work primarily, and provide significant monthly tax cuts for working families with children through the child care tax credit.
If you cut taxes
enough,
women wouldn't have to go to work.
Expenses for families, and not
Mothers
just give them
wouldn't.
a little more breathing room. In addition, we're going to make long overdue, much needed investments in basic, hard infrastructure of this nation.
Oh, you've been saying that for
This
so
is
long.
an area where we have broad bipartisan agreement.
It's not going to matter.
To invest in our
It's going to be
antiquated
Afghanistan
roads,
infrastructure
highways,
is what it's going to
bridges,
be.
transit, drinking water systems, broadband, clean energy.
Oh, broadband.
environmental
Oh, I
cleanup,
love when politicians are saying,
making
"Oh, we're going to get
infrastructure more
broadband."
resilient.
I mean, how many
climate to
years
the
is
climate
this?
crisis, and so much more.
It's
And this is all paid for. Instead of giving every break in the world to corporations and CEOs, by the way, 55 of our largest companies in America paid $0 in federal taxes, and more than $40 billion in profit last year. We can ask corporations and the very wealthy just to pay their fair share. They can still be.
There's no such thing as a fair share.
Money, but just begin to pay their fair share, so we can invest in making our country stronger and more competitive, create jobs and raise wages, and lift up the standard of living for everyone.
There is no such thing as
The
fair
bottom
share.
line is,
The fair's
in my
going on
view,
right now at the
We are a
fairgrounds.
step
If you want
closer to
fair,
truly investing in the American people, positioning our economy for long-term growth, and building an America that outcompetes the rest of the world.
long-term growth means you're not going to see
My
any
goal
growth.
is to build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not just the top down. And that's what we're on our way of doing. Look, I want to thank Speaker Pelosi, who was masterful in her leadership on this.
Oh,
Leader
whatever.
Hoyer and Whip Clyburn and Chairman DeFazio, the entire House leadership team. for
You
the
know she has a
hard work,
bartender on her
dedication,
staff?
and determination to bring people together so we can make a difference in people's lives.
Oh, yeah, we're going to make a
I
difference
also
in people's
want to
lives.
thank every
Look how
Democrat in
wonderful
the
my
House who
leadership
worked so
is
hard over the
by the way
past
I
few
led
weeks
in
to reach an
Afghanistan.
agreement, and who supported the process.
The new budget will
for House
cost the taxpayers
consideration of the
$1,700 a
Jobs and
year.
Infrastructure Plan, the Build Back Better effort. There were differences, strong points of view. They're always welcome. What is important is that we came together to advance our agenda. I think everyone who did
Towards
that,
communism.
I think everyone who did it was there. Look, I also want to thank everyone who voted to support the John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
Oh,
We are
God.
advancing, it's an act to restore and expand voting protections, to prevent voter suppression, and to secure the most sacred of American rights, the right to vote freely,
I don't
the right
believe
to vote
you.
fairly, and the right to have your vote counted. The House is active. The Senate also has to join them to send this important bill to my
You
desk.
get your vote counted even if
And
you
the
didn't
Senate has
vote.
to move forward on the People's Act, critical legislation.
knows that your
to
vote's
protect
gonna
our
be counted for?
democracy and the right to vote. We need both of those election bills. But let me now turn to Afghanistan. I've met this morning with my counterparts in the G7, as well as heads of the United Nations, NATO, and the European Union. I express my thanks for the solidarity we have seen as we've stood up an unprecedented global effort. I updated our partners on the significant progress we made in the past 10 days. As of this afternoon, we've helped evacuate 70,700 people just since August the 14th.
Oh, wow, that's a big deal. 190,000 go through O'Hara a day.
Just in the past 12 hours, another 19 U.S. military flights, 18 C-17s and one C-130 carrying approximately 6,400 evacuees.
6,000. Oh, my
and
gosh.
31 coalition flights carrying 5,000.
Y'all ever been to a football game, like a major
just
arena?
In the last 12 hours.
I mean, we're talking about 60,000 people being moved out there within half an hour.
People since I updated you this morning. These numbers are a testament to the efforts of our brave service women and men, to our diplomats on the ground in Kabul, and to our allies still standing with us. And we had a productive discussion. There was strong agreement among the leaders about the evacuation mission underway, as well as the need to coordinate our approach to Afghanistan as we move forward. First, on evacuation, we agreed that we will continue to our close cooperation to get people out as efficiently and safely as possible.
They're going 375 people out per plane.
Pace to finish by August the 31st. The sooner we can finish, the better. Each day of operation.
Why is this happening? Why is this happening?
But the completion by August 31st depends upon the Taliban continuing to cooperate.
They'll cooperate because we're going to blow them out of the planet.
Transporting out, and no disruptions to our operation.
They might be the first astronauts to Mars.
I've asked the Pentagon and the State Department for contingency plans to adjust the timetable.
Why are we just asking the Taliban?
I'm determined to ensure that we complete our mission, this mission. I'm also mindful
what is the mission?
Of the increasing risks that I've been briefed on, and the need to factor those risks in. They're real and significant challenges that we
real risks.
Also have to take into consideration.
Shoot.
The longer we stay, starting with the acute and growing risk of an attack by a terrorist group known as ISIS-K, an ISIS affiliate in Afghanistan, which is a sworn enemy of the Taliban as well. Every day we're on the ground is another day we know that ISIS-K is seeking to target the airport and attack both U.S. and allied forces and innocent civilians. Additionally, thus far, the Taliban have been taking steps to work with us so we can get our people out.
Oh, they're letting us. They're letting us get our people out.
We're already had some gunfighting break out.
Oh, heck, gunfighting.
We run a serious risk of it breaking down.
We're going to ban guns in America so the Taliban doesn't have any more gunfighting.
The G7 leaders and the leaders of the EU, NATO, and the UN all agreed that we will stand united in our approach to the Taliban.
This guy can read a teleprompter.
The legitimacy of any future government depends on the approach it now takes to uphold international obligations, including to prevent Afghanistan from being used as a base for terrorism. And we agreed that none of us are going to take the Taliban's word for it. We'll judge them by their actions, and we'll stay in close coordination on any steps that we take moving forward.
Why don't we send in some UN advisors?
At the same time, we renewed our humanitarian commitment to the Afghan people and supported a proposal by the Secretary General Guterres of the United Nations-led international response.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Unfettered humanitarian access in Afghanistan. Third, we talked about our mutual obligation to support refugees and evacuees currently fleeing Afghanistan.
They're going to bring all the child rapists to your town.
Will be a leader in these efforts, and we'll look to the international community and to our partners to do the same. We're already seeing our allies' commitment. They're bringing to their countries the Afghans who served alongside their forces as translators or in their embassies. Just as we're
what about the ones that were
those Afghans who worked alongside our forces and diplomats
went and fought with us.
That effort. We're conducting thorough security screening in the intermediate stops they're making.
Oh, good. TSA could go to Afghanistan.
Not a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident of the United States. Anyone arriving in the United States will have undergone a background check.
Ha!
And
Will they have a
we
vaccine?
must all work together to resettle thousands of Afghans who ultimately qualify for refugee status.
Will they be
The
vaccinated?
United States will do our part, and we are already working closely with refugee organizations to rebuild a system that was purposely destroyed by my predecessor.
Oh my
Finally,
gosh.
we agreed to stay vigilant against terrorist threats that have metastasized around the world.
You're talking about
We went to Afghanistan with our allies in 2001 for clear
immigration.
reasons.
He's comparing
One,
Mexican immigration to what's happening in Afghanistan and blaming that on Trump.
Bin Laden. And to
Dear
make sure
Lord.
that Afghanistan was not used again as a base from which to attack
We
the
have a
United
wall
States or our allies.
to stop
We
Afghanis
achieved
from
that
coming
objective.
over here.
We delivered
It's
justice
called a
to bin
landlocked
Laden
nation.
more than a decade ago. But the current environment looks very different than it did in 2001. And we have to meet the challenges we face today.
What about the 8 years you were in charge,
We run
bucko?
effective counterterrorism operations around the world, where we know terrorism is more of a threat than it is today in Afghanistan, without any permanent military presence on the ground. And we can and will do the same thing in Afghanistan with our over-the-horizon counterterrorism capability.
Over the horizon.
Cooperation
That
with
means
our closest
sending
partners
missiles.
on our enduring counterterrorism mission will continue to be an essential piece of our strategy. In short, we all of us agreed today that we're going to stand shoulder to shoulder with our closest partners to meet the current challenges we face in Afghanistan.
Oh, shoulder to shoulder, you're going
just
to
as
be
we
within
have for
6
the past
feet.
20 years. We're acting in consultation and cooperation with our
That's not
closest friends
shoulder to
and fellow
shoulder, is not
democracies.
social distancing.
And I want to again thank all of our allies and partners around the world who have rallied in support of our shared mission. We ended the conversation today by a clear statement of all of our parts. We are going to stay united, locked at the hip in terms of what we have to do. We'll get that done. And tomorrow, I've asked Secretary Blinken
What's his name?
to give you
Blinken.
an update and a detailed report on
Blinken
exactly
like
how
Lincoln.
many Americans are still in Afghanistan, how many have gone out, and what our projection is. So thank you again.
You don't know how
God
many
bless you,
Americans
and
are
may
there.
God protect our
You know how many
diplomats and
Americans
all
work
those
for the
around them.
government.
Thank you.
Oh, we're not going to answer any questions because
Will out before the troops leave.
Sanctions,
Can you
Mr. President,
guarantee?
did sanctions come up at all in the G7 meetings?
no, don't want to answer any questions. What was Peter Ducey? He tried to ask a question. Jeez. Well, that was your class for Clownville. Golly. That was so. The whole thing was trying to get one shot in at Trump. And you know what? You failed. This administration was in power for 8 years. This is Obama's Afghanistan. Trump tried to get us out, and they screwed that one up too. I'm just sick of being lied to. I'm sick of being treated like an imbecile, like a child that shoved crayons up his nose, and one went a little too far. Anyway, hey, if you don't mind, I'd appreciate a follow. Please subscribe to the the network here. We're gonna take back the internet, guys. We're going to get our algorithm going. That's what it's all about. So please hit a subscribe, give likes, all that good stuff. I hope y'all are having a great day wherever you are. Godspeed. God loves you, and I do too. And be sure and enjoy the day. Do something for yourself. Do something for somebody else, and tell someone you love them. And other than that, peace out, y'all.